honeycomb punch.
Aloha my friends, it's your boy. I'm back with another video. We got some more Resident Evil 4 Remake leaks to cover today, so let's just jump right into it. Now this is a Reddit leak, so I know this doesn't sound too enticing, but hey, you know, I'll take what I can get. As I always say, these leaks are up for speculation and debate, and they're just interesting to talk about. So yeah, the leaker claims that his source did predict the village would be set at nighttime, so he does want to give some credibility to this guy and want to believe him, but he himself still says, hey, I don't know, these could be real or fake. You don't say. First leak states the Novicidors and the minigun guy are cut from the game. Now, the Novicidors being cut is a topic that's been brought up on like almost every leak that we've got in the past. Every leak page has claimed this, and it's kind of a bummer, you know? I do like the Novicidors. I like the whole concept and idea behind them. You know, just creepy crawlers, you know, in the dungeon. Like, come on, that's such a great, like, design. But, you know, unfortunately, they might not make it a return. So, hey, I don't know what to say about that. Anyways, the minigun guy has also been cut, which I obviously don't really give a fuck about, because the minigun guy is kind of just like a ripoff off Rambo. So yeah, way too much action on this guy, literally a fucking zombie Rambo, so he can kick rocks. The next leak states that the remake will have scenarios featuring Leon, Ada, and Luis, so apparently each character will have their own twisted nightmare going through RE4 Remake, which I would love to see each character just go through a whole different atmosphere and gameplay sequence. But yo, I wouldn't be surprised if this is DLC content. Speaking of DLC, I can 100% guarantee you guys that RE4 Remake will have DLC. It's one of the most resold games from Capcom, and the fucking Capcom knows how popular this game is, so it just would make total sense for them to capitalize on their sales and add more content. I just hope they add a lot of content, a lot of cool scenario and DLC stuff. So yeah, anyways, let's move on. The dodge mechanic and the block mechanic from RE3 Remake and RE8 will return in the remake, which is essential. It's always best to capitalize and increase your combat skills in any situation, especially your defense, kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh card duel game.
But this little bug won't stand a chance against all your ferocious monsters. Oh well, I'll play him in defense mode.
That would have been a nice bluff, but I still haven't forgotten about the trap card you play.
Anyways, the remake will have stalker roles, but each AI got different abilities. Every time you damage Dr. Salvador, he will mutate further and further, and his mask will slowly fall apart and disintegrate, and he will have his own boss fight on the island segment of the game. Him and Leon will have a duel-to-duel chainsaw fight, like a duel-to-duel Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Imagine that. Bitores Mendez can call out villagers to hunt you down. In other words, Bitores Mendez is now a drug kingpin who sends his spawns out to get you. And he has a large mansion house now, so this guy's like the new Scarface of Resident Evil 4. Also, his AI will work similar to Mr. X. Verdugo can now go invisible to catch the player off guard, which does lie in the Predator Stalker role, which, I mean, does make sense. Ashley's character and her AI are improved. Ashley now post-puberty can distract enemies and push enemies off her, and she can carry small melee weapons, and the remake will make you start off with her at the beginning instead of Leon, which, hey, I can show you guys how this is very true leak. If you look at the trailer here, we get glimpses of Ashley alone in the village, which was not in the original, and the fact that they show this in the trailer just shows that this might be the beginning of the game. Why spoil the whole game when you can just show the beginning segments, because there's going to be a demo anyway, right? I also expressed this in another video when I said it's very important for the developers to put us, the players, in Ashley's shoes, just to express how dangerous the situation is without Leon around, and how dangerous it can quickly get if Leon doesn't show up in time to save her. In other words, let's have a PT demo type experience with Ashley where we're completely lost, isolated, and weaponless, and we're just completely scared and terrified of any enemy encounter and horrors that lurk around the village before Leon gets there in time to assure peace, bliss, and security. Now this one is a no-brainer, as every remake we've had in the past has always fleshed out every character more, even small little side characters you would never expect to make an impact in a remake. Luis's character is fleshed out more, he will have more backstory and have flashbacks of his grandfather in his campaign, and he will help Leon at times in the remake, and he will not die, which is a plot twist from the original story. His grandfather is mentioned in the original in some side notes, and his grandfather actually has some interesting backstory. There's actually even like a possibility that his grandfather is the merchant. I will actually put a link down below of this guy's video where he goes deeper into that if you want to check that out. It's very interesting to look at. Next up, BitTorrent Mendez's house will be expanded. As I mentioned earlier, BitTorrent Mendez now is kind of like a drug kingpin of Resident Evil 4, as he has a larger house and he has Ganado pins to just be sent out and attack you at any time. His house will be expanded and the player will have to solve puzzles in his house to figure out a key to escape out of his house, which does make sense. If you do remember, in the original RE4 there was a small little puzzle to open the door into his house, so I think they got a good idea from that into expanding that scenario and putting a whole puzzle mystery in his house to escape. BitTorrent Mendez will chase you in his house, which will put you in a real defensive position and think more about fight or flight in order to escape his mansion. So the elements of BitTorrent Mendez's new house will have very similar elements to the Spencer mansion from Resident Evil 1, which is a very good move. A lot of people that didn't like RE4 will definitely enjoy this segment of the remake. The remake will have a crafting system mechanic, which is something I talked about and predicted on my other channel, and it's no surprise as every single Resident Evil recently has had this as well. And this would just make more sense to lie into the survival horror element, as survival horror is about limited resources and surviving the horror. Next up, the regenerators are entirely redesigned and they will be much more scarier than the original, and they will have more variants, like a fat, obese, or skinny regenerator, etc. This is a very good move. I remember being a kid and just like being so terrified of hitting a wall corner because there was just a regenerator waiting for me there. I'm hoping to get this, tension back when I play the remake, as it will just remind me so much about my childhood when I play Resident Evil 4. The merchant will have much more lore and backstory, and he will interact with Leon more similar like the Duke from Resident Evil 8.
Does this look familiar to you?
Now this is a very good move, and I would love to see some more backstory with the merchant, as he's a very mysterious character. I just hope that they still keep him mysterious enough where not that much is spoiled about him, and he's still a mystery where you have to dive into the island and maybe find notes or Easter eggs that reveal more secrets and backstory about him. That is for a future video for sure. The castle segment is way more different now and takes elements from the Hookman beta, and Salazar's character is expanded, which is very, very good. That means that the castle will be much more scarier and spooky, and possibly even have some Silent Hill vibes, which could mean Leon battling with the supernatural inside a spooky dark castle because of the hallucinations caused by the Plaga infection, which is a very good move. Refreshing back to Salazar, he now has a giant spider pet that you can optionally kill or choose not to kill, which I don't know about you guys, but I had a dream about spiders the other night, and fuck all of that, I'm killing that goddamn spider. You bet your sweet ass I am. And now, Albert Wesker is in the remake. I'm just gonna pause for a second, because I don't think you guys realize how big this is. And I actually talked about Albert Wesker and how it's possible that he'll be in the remake. Be sure to check out that video as well. I go into depth with that a little bit towards the end. He will now have a larger role in the story and a small boss fight in the remake, which in some ways doesn't make sense, because this is exactly why he sent Ada and Krauser after the Plaga, so he doesn't have to get on his own 2 feet and do it himself. but seeing the recent actions of Resident Evil 2 Remake and how Ada and Leon kind of got a little romantic towards the end.
What if you're attacked? What if you need help?
Take care of yourself, Leon.
No!
This might mean that Ada has a change of heart or plan during the RE4 story, especially in the scene where Wesker demands for Ada to kill Leon. This might be the turning point where Ada decides to go a different route and forces Albert Wesker himself to attack or pursue Leon or the Plaga in the remake. The island segment is less action and will be focused on the lab more, and will have new locations like a factory and some prisons, which I mean is a no-brainer of course. These leaks have been mentioned before as well, how it's going to be more focused around the lab. We did also see factories and prisons in the original. I just hope they're more terrifying this time around. 2 El Gigantes were cut and only one of them remains, which is the one in the village. I did mention this in my other leak video, so it's very interesting that it get brought up again. Now this is very unfortunate, but hey, you know, if it's more focused on horror, maybe 3 El Gigantes is a little bit too extreme or not so realistic, you know. But anyways, that's it for the leaks, guys. That's all the leaks for today. Let me know what you guys think about all of these leaks. They're very interesting to get into and talk about, and I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Anyways, that's all for today. Be sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed. If you didn't, go ahead and dislike. I don't give a fuck.